Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. So as you can see from the title of this video, today is going to be all about how to keep productive when you're working from home. So whether you are someone who's having to work 9 to 5, whether you are a freelancer with your own hours or whatever it might be, I thought I would share with you 8 tips that I've picked up over the last few years of working from home and share with you how I keep productive and motivated and how I just really get stuff done so that I don't eat up all of my time. Because one thing that I've really learnt from working from home is that I need to kind of separate my time and make sure that I'm not working like 24/7 as opposed to like 9 to 5. So I've put together 8 tips for you that I hope will help if you are new to or need help with working from home. And if you haven't already seen, this is actually kind of like a mini like stay at home series I've been doing. So I've already shared my top loungewear outfits, so things that can be worn kind of instead of your pajamas so you feel like you're still being productive. I've also shared some tips on things that you can do if you are staying in, because obviously we are in this weird self-isolation period at the moment that no one's used to, and I think it's important to have tips for how to cope with that and things that you can do to keep your mind occupied. And I've actually got another video coming up that is going to be all about kind of keeping your mental health on track and how to stay positive and happy during this weird time that we are going through. But without further ado, let's get into the tips for working from home. So my first tip is to make sure that you keep a routine. So for me personally, I have quite a kind of not solid routine. It is still kind of one that mixes and matches, but for the most part, I get up, I have my coffee and my breakfast, have a shower, get dressed, work in the office around about 9 o'clock. So I always try and kind of aim to be in for the beginning of office hours. And then around 3 or 4, I basically sign off, do a home workout for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then quickly finish off my last emails and sign off for about 5:30 or 6, and then just get on with my evening. And I honestly find that having that routine really helps. Otherwise there's days where I maybe don't stick to that and I end up sat on the sofa till about 12 o'clock, still in my PJs, feeling really unmotivated, and I just notice a complete difference when I stick to the routine and when I don't. Tip number 2 is to get dressed every single day, and even if that is just changing into a fresh pair of pajamas or putting on some loungewear, or some people like to just fully get dressed and put jeans and stuff on, completely up to you, but just make sure that you do not stay in the pajamas that you slept in, because I guarantee you will feel more sluggish and you will be less motivated. So tip number 3 is to schedule your time. So make sure that A, you have a lunch break, B, you have a morning and an afternoon break, and C, make sure that you kind of stay vigilant to that schedule. So for example, this morning I said to myself, right, between 9 and 11 I'm going to get 2 or more videos filmed, and then I'm going to stop for a lunch break, and then I'm going to film another 2 videos. If I've got time after that, I'm going to do a home workout and then maybe start editing. So I schedule my time and kind of give myself like reasonable time allowances for things. So I know for a fact that a video that normally ends up being about 10 minutes long, if I've had to try things on, takes me about an hour and a half to film. So I obviously have to allow for like different things, but it's really important to schedule your time, and the regular breaks really help, because it means that you keep your mind focused. And if you kind of allow yourself like, oh, I'm gonna have half an hour break, you notice that you kind of feel a bit more motivated, and then you actually do stick to the half an hour, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm just gonna stop now for a little bit and do this and then I'm gonna get back to it. Like, I am vigilant with my timings, and I think it really helps. Tip number 4 is to work in a separate room from your household. So whether that household is your mum and dad and a sibling, whether it's your partner and your kids, or whoever it is that you live with, make sure that you work in a different room to them, unless you know that you can work in the same room and be motivated. So Sam and I share this office, and it's a great space. We do sometimes work in here together, but for example right now I'm up in the office filming and Sam is sat downstairs editing some videos in the living room, and we find it works really well if we spend at least half of the day working in separate rooms, because it means you're not on top of each other. You've got your own headspace to just breathe and relax and get on with stuff without having a distraction. And I am the worst for having distractions. Like, if there is someone for me to talk to, I will talk to them. If there is something for me to do, I will do it. I am queen of procrastination, and that is one thing that I really have to stick to keep motivated. Otherwise I'm just the most distracted person in the world. And obviously I know this isn't possible for everyone, but if it is a possibility for you, it can make you that little bit more productive, or just make sure that you've got headphones in so you can't hear each other and you're a little bit less distracted. And similarly, tip number 5 is to make sure that you work and live in separate spaces. So obviously, as I mentioned, I am very lucky and grateful to have an office space, so I can come out into the office, work and do my jobs and stuff, and then head back into the living room. And I do try and keep it separate as much as possible, because I really notice that if I'm working in the living room and living in the living room, then I find it really hard to switch off. Whereas if I separate the two spaces, I find that I can go into the living room and I'm a little bit more relaxed. Likewise with the bedroom, I absolutely do not work in my bedroom. I used to, and I found that again, it was really hard to switch off, and I just found that I couldn't really relax in my bedroom. But obviously, I know this isn't something that everyone can do. I know that if you are sharing a house in London, you more than likely have to work in your bedroom. And my tip for that kind of situation is to get all your laptop and everything out and make sure that you allow yourself the time to pack it away. So if you finish your working day at 6, make sure that you shut your laptop and all your paperwork and bits and pieces related to work get put away out of sight. So whether that's in a drawer, in a cupboard, under your desk, on your desk chair, or wherever it might be, just make sure that when you finished your working day, you pack it all away and put it out of sight or kind of out of mind, because I think that's a really great way to kind of separate the space. So like in the morning, your bedroom is your bedroom. As soon as it hits 9 till 5, that is your workspace. You are zoned in and do your thing, and then you pack it away and have your bedroom back again. Tip number 6 is to make a reasonable to-do list every day. And by to-do list, I mean everything that you need to get done that day, work and other. So I tend to make my list from the beginning of my morning through to the end. So whether that's jobs that I need to get done, emails I need to reply to, invoices I need to send, bins that need taking out, whether I need to put a wash on, like all those different things, which helps me to put it into my time plan that I mentioned earlier. But it also has to be reasonable. And I speak from experience, because I used to be the person that made a to-do list the size of my arm, and it was completely unreasonable and completely unachievable, and every single day I would feel really defeated when I didn't get it done. Just be really realistic with your tasks and what you can get done, because I think the achievement that you get from doing a smaller to-do list is actually greater than getting halfway through a bigger one. Like, you feel such a sense of achievement when that list is all ticked off, as opposed to kind of having a massive list and thinking, oh well, at least I've done half, if that makes sense. Tip number 7 is to have your hot drink at your desk in a thermal mug. So I use Corkscrew mugs religiously. I absolutely love them, and they are a game changer for me, because I, like I said, procrastinate quite a lot, and I find that I will go for endless trips down to the kettle to make cups of tea and coffee, because for one, it's something to do to distract me from work, and for two, it's an excuse to leave my desk and just pot around for a bit. So what I tend to do is first thing in the morning, I mean, I don't do this every single day. Like I'm not perfect. Like obviously we all don't stick to these things 100%, but I try to make a coffee in a thermal mug, bring it upstairs, and I know that that coffee will be hot for about 4 or 5 hours, so I can sip it slowly. And because I've got that hot coffee there, I don't feel the need to keep making new ones because of the fact that they get cold. So I've noticed that if I do that, I actually do sit at my desk and work for longer than if I have it in like a normal ceramic mug, because like I said, I make endless trips downstairs. I also think one thing that you can do that helps as well is to have a small snack on your desk. So whether that's an apple or some nuts or some dates or some crisps or whatever it is that you snack on during the day, have that on your desk, because then again, if you really are hungry and you really do need that snack, it's on your desk and you don't have to go downstairs to get one or like into another room. You have it in front of you, and I actually do find it makes me snack less and it makes me leave my desk a lot less. And my final tip is to keep your weekend as a weekend. So on Friday evening, I sign off the same as everyone else does with emails, and I put my work away until Monday morning. The only exception to that is Instagram, because Instagram is every single day, but I'm talking like video edits, emails, etc. Like the general gist of work, I put away on a Friday evening and don't pick it up again until Monday. And having a weekend as a weekend I find really beneficial. So the weekend just gone, Sam and I were really vigilant with keeping it as a weekend, and we tried to kind of go for a long walk. We made sure that we kind of did our food shopping, we sat and watched TV, we did some hobbies, Sam played a few games on his phone and stuff while I was doing my little cross stitch. If you want to know more about what I get up to at the moment when I'm at home, please go watch that video, because I honestly cannot preach keeping weekends enough. So whether that's staying in bed a little bit longer or whatever it is, keep your weekend as a weekend and try not to work, because I promise you it breaks up your time so much better than working 7 days a week every single week and feeling like you just don't have a break. I have done that in the past and I found that it made me burn out a lot more, and I'd work 7 days a week for like 2 weeks straight, and then I'd have a burnout for like 4 days where I just didn't want to do anything because I hadn't allowed myself some time off. So definitely recommend, and definitely can vouch for the fact that it works. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found the tips helpful, and hopefully you can get something from them, whether it's using every single tip or just picking up a couple. If you had any tips yourself, please leave them down in the comments, because I'm sure that me and everyone else would love to hear them and kind of add to the list, because I think there is so many more tips that I've probably missed off, and I love to hear what other people find motivating. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.